Joining me right now is Democratic strategist Harlan Hill, along with Republican strategist Lisa Boothe. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining
Maria.
us.
Good morning.
Lisa, let me kick it off with you. What do you make about all these comments out of Donald Trump this weekend, certainly rolling back many of the things he's been telling us during the primary season?
Well, it's definitely interesting. And look, I think this is one of the reasons why he is at odds right now with some individuals in the party, like Speaker Paul Ryan. I think the main thing is, seeing some of this shift on some of the economic issues, like the minimum wage or like increasing taxes on the wealthy. Not increasing taxes on high-income earners is something that has been part of the Republican platform since the 1990s. So, this is a pretty marked shift. I think regarding the federal or the minimum wage, he's putting the onus on the states as opposed to saying a federal minimum wage. But it still marks a shift in rhetoric from Donald Trump and a shift from what the majority of the Republican Party has been saying for quite some time.
Yeah, I guess Harlan Hill, no surprise, though, that he is going to start soliciting money from outside.
Even Bernie Sanders raises money from outside groups and small dollar donors. So this is no surprise. Okay. Donald Trump should.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How significant are we talking about in terms of the money he needs in the next 6 months?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're talking about $1 billion.
$1 billion, yeah. And he needs to also be competitive with outside groups the Democrats are putting together to really take him on. So it's not just the Hillary Clinton campaign he has to compete with. He needs an apparatus of different PACs around him and supporting him so that he can actually win in November.
Lee Carter, what's most important here?
I really want to know how he's going to frame this up, because I think he has been framed up as the outsider candidate this whole time. I think he's been saying, I'm going to be in nobody's pocket, I'm in nobody's special interest, and that's been a big part of his message. He has always framed it as in the primary, I'm not taking money, but still, is he going to gloss over it? Is he going to say, look, there's a story behind this? I think he's going to have to tell us what this is all about.
Yep.
Well, how quickly can he ramp this up, though? Is the mechanism there? Are there super PACs that already want to give him money? It seems like that they're waiting in the wings, and now the gates are open. How easily can this start for the political experts here?
I think that it's actually going to take quite a bit. This is my biggest concern about Donald Trump's viability in November. Yep. Look, Ted Cruz had a great operation, a great ground game. Nobody thinks that's very exciting. It's not sexy to have like a great field staff, but he had it. And it got him much further than he should have been able to get. If Donald Trump expects to win in November, he needs to go and start picking up some of those Ted Cruz resumes and building the apparatus now, starting today.
Yeah, so my question is for Lisa. Who in the establishment, quote-unquote establishment, that gave to Jeb Bush, we had over $100 million in the super PAC, or in Ted Cruz, who raised a substantial amount of money, I think the second amount. Rubio's another donor favorite. I don't know how Donald Trump is going to get these donors to his side after months of really beating up on their favorite candidates.
Well, I think that similarly to the fact that you've got folks like Texas Governor, like Rick Perry, or Perry. Sorry, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name this morning. But no, we've seen a shift in people coming over to Donald Trump. We're going to see this shift a lot of the time. At the end of the day, a lot of these individuals consider themselves Republicans, and they're going to try to get the Republican nominee across the finish line. So I think in the same way that you're seeing, a lot of these figures come over to Donald Trump campaign, you're also going to see donors. Now, I'm not going to lie, I think he's alienated some individuals that, are big party donors that may never come over to Donald Trump and may look at some of the Senate races that are in play. Look, Republicans are defending 24 seats. I believe it's 7 of those seats President Obama won in 2012, so they may be focused on the retaining the House and Senate for Republicans. But you are going to see some of these donors. I also think Donald Trump's going to look to do an aggressive game with low-dollar donors and trying to do that grassroots fundraising. He's also reaching a deal with the RNC. Yeah. The RNC is going to bring some of that infrastructure to Donald Trump, both from a fundraising perspective and also the data and analytics and the ground game that Harlan was speaking about earlier.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to note that Hillary Clinton has raised $4.2 million in total from Wall Street. $344,000, which was contributed in March alone, Harlan. When you look at the fact that she's receiving 53% of the donations from Wall Street, Donald Trump is only garnering 1% of Wall Street contributions in any 1 month. So we'll see if that changes in any way.
She's just a wildly disingenuous person, too. So she's willing to go and fundraise and do have backroom conversations with people on Wall Street, which is fine. I think that's great. I'm a believer in capitalism and the free market. But then she's not willing to release the transcripts from all of these meetings. Right. And so it's just, she's so duplicitous. I can't.
What about this issue about the minimum wage and taxes, you guys? Because this is something that also we're talking about this morning, because it feels like he's going away from what he's promised us during the primary, that he's okay with the minimum minimum wage increase, and he's probably going to see a higher taxes under his leadership.
He was actually very clear on that. He said that he was going to go after cap gains from the very beginning. So
That's true.
This is not actually a flip-flop. I mean, different people in the media are trying to portray it that way, but he's been very clear on this issue the whole way.
But so you think this is just about the carried interest?
Yeah, I think he's starting to sort of crystallize what his plan is. We didn't know for a long time what it was.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But as Lisa said earlier, this is a major departure from Republican Party policy for the past 20, 30 years. He's the head of the party now. He's the presumptive nominee, so he does get to choose the policy positions that the party is going to take. But I don't think that we should be surprised that some people like Paul Ryan, whose core tenets are tax cuts and reforming Social Security, have a hard time getting on board with this. This is a major policy difference.
Well, Donald's eating his lunch right now. Let's face it. Like you said, this is the policy's departure. He's a departure from what the GOP has been forever. Let's face it. That's what's really going on here. He's going to keep saying what he needs to say to different audiences, and this is what's worked for him. He's going. It's evolving, but it's going to keep going.
Well, he's pretty adamant that he wants to keep taxes low for the middle class and for business. Lisa Boothe, final word from you.
Well, and that's what he's saying. So, I mean, look, the reality is the media is going to hold Donald Trump under, heightened scrutiny. And what's interesting here is Donald Trump really has an opportunity right now to try to capitalize on this time where Hillary Clinton is still tied up. I mean, look, the Democratic Party wanted to talk about Republicans being divided, which we are, admittedly. But the reality is that the Democratic Party is the one that's still facing the possibility of a contested convention. And Bernie Sanders is likely going to win West Virginia tomorrow. He could also win Oregon. There are still states on the map and contests ahead that Bernie Sanders will likely win. So Donald Trump has an opportunity right now to capitalize off of that time where she's getting hit by both him and also to the left from Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting what Ed Rendell said over the weekend. He said basically, look, Bernie Sanders supporters better behave when he loses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
I saw that as well. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Lisa Boothe, Harlan Hill.
Subtle threat.
Yeah, exactly. Funny. We'll see you soon, guys. Thank you very much.